Tom Clark's Main Event is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
This is Daddy Show. Step off.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to the program, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Tom Clark, and this right here is Tom Clark's Main Event. What's up, kids? Happy Friday to you one and all. Welcome to the show. Tom Clark's Main Event, live and in living color, as it were. This is episode number 212. It's been 12 weeks since the celebration of our 200th episode, and man, did we have fun. If you missed that episode, by the way, never fear, because all the shows are archived. And if you don't subscribe to Tom Clark's Main Event, shame on you. You're doing life wrong. You know who you are. Don't do life wrong, okay? Do the right thing. I don't know where I'm going with that. The show's available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, Audible, Spotify, and the YouTube. And more if I can do it. So there you go. We're going to kick this thing off. I think the first guy to the party today was, where did he go? Sandy in Germany. Guten Tag to you, Sandy. Thank you for hanging out as always. Jeff, what's going on? Welcome to the show. Christopher, what's happening? Sugar Shane Odom, what's going on, brother? How are you? Hello, Shannon. How are you doing today? Jamel in Vegas, how you doing? Good to see you. Down Under David, hope you're doing well, my friend. Hope your family's doing well as also. What's up, Brendan? Let's see. Carlos Martinez, how's it going? Sandy's wishing my dog hello. He's not here yet. When he's here, he'll be right there. Give it time. He's always the guest star. Okay? Not always, but most of the time. What's up, Jane? Where's your comment? There you is. Where? There it is. Click. Okay. Good to see you. If you are looking at me right now and you see sort of a twisted view, not twisted, but kind of altered view of the screen, there's good reason for that. Your boy finally bought himself a brand new desk. Long time coming. The other desk was older than my dog, actually. My dog's old, okay? But I needed a new setup, new layout. Man, this thing's cool. I've got everything. Like I got the laptop, or excuse me, the computer keyboard here, a TV here, laptop here, TV here, fan, because it gets hot up here, Atari retro system, because I'm retro, baby. iPads over here, headphones over here. Man, you name it, I got it. And 2 power strips that are working overtime. So let's hope they're good and safe, yes? Because we don't want to burn the joint down. All right, let's get to the show. We advertised 2 individuals for this week's main event. One of them, Mr. Troy Grant, had to cancel. He's having internet issues because the internet can be a wacky, weird place, and connectivity is often a thing, as you guys very well know. However, we do have constant Tom Clark 6M podcast co-host, Mr. Phil Lindsay, on board. Let's bring Phil on right now. Phil, how's it going, my friend? How you doing, brother?
Good. How are you?
Doing good, man. Let's get some names up here so everybody knows who we are. Bam! There we go. Photoshop's fun, kids. I know, right? I'm completely self-taught on Photoshop. Some people would say it shows. But listen, when in doubt, YouTube. That's all I can tell you. So everything I know how to do, from the phone to the laptop to the iPad to every bit of software I've ever used, I just go into it like I'm telling you something groundbreaking, guys. I don't know. You go into it and you go, oh, that's cool. How'd they do that? And then you just work backwards. It's like taking something and like taking it apart to see how it works. I'm not that smart. However, if it comes to with the fingers, yeah, I can figure stuff out. There you go. So that is Southern ingenuity, if I've ever heard it. Phil, you got people saying, hey. Shannon says, hey, Phil.
What's up?
Phil, you're a hit on the show. So Big Nate Dog in the house, my producer for the show, Connection Dysfunction. Yeah. Or Connection, Connect, Connect. There you go. I couldn't read it. So I got the light on. And man, when the light's on, wow, it could get bright. Brendan's already talking Super Bowl. Phil, real quick, Super Bowl pick, go.
Kansas City.
Really? Yeah, I don't know, dude. I think Brady's going to pull it out. I like Kansas City, but I think Brady's going to pull it out. We know that when Ray's here, he's going to talk about one guy. You're welcome, Ray. That's for you. That's you, my friend.
Did you see Adam Cole posted a picture in his Bullet Club shirt and everything this week under Balor's tweet?
I did not see that. Interesting. What's that mean?
I don't know. Well, Balor tweeted all these other ex-Bullet Club guys or current Bullet Club guys, and Adam Cole was one of them.
Wow, that's different. I talked off air about why WWE dropped the ball. I mean, practically deflated it with a Bullet Club thing. Didn't have to call it Bullet Club. Could have called it something very cool. Balor Club would have been fine with me. I mean, Finn ran the gimmick for a while, had some T-shirts made. Hey, it's fun, T-shirts, buy them. But didn't really do anything with it. And now you got Tama Tonga, who's online calling it the Bootleg Club. What's happening in AEW? I love Tama. I swear to God, I love that guy. He is the most unapologetic. And you hear this about talent, like, oh, this guy says what he means. Dude, Tama Tonga does not care. He has no filter. I love that guy to death, man. Good stuff. Bootleg Club. And then, of course, we had Kenny Omega when Kenta showed up. We'll get there, right? But Omega's on the screen. He's trying to give him the too sweet, and freaking Kenta blows him off. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. I'd love to know who's. I'm sure it was probably Kenny's idea. Hey, man, just blow me off, that kind of thing. But let's see. Nate with something on the Super Bowl. Where'd you go? Speaking of deflated balls, Brady's playing in the Super Bowl. There's all kinds of double entendre to that. Let's see, Shannon. I didn't mean to ignore you there. All right, guys. Before we get to see, this is how happy Ray is with the Adam Cole button. You see that comment? Yeah, Ray. That's why the Adam Cole button's never going away, my friend. All right, let's hit him with one more before we get started. Sandy's bringing up something very important. We have one guy return next week, and his name is Tim McGrath. I love that button. That's one of my favorite buttons. So, all right, kids, let's go ahead and get into this. Let's get the ticker is ticking. There we go. The reason we're here today, one of the major reasons we're here today, let's talk about WWE Royal Rumble results. Right out the gate this past Sunday, and we'll get full takes, Phil, on what we both thought of the show after we're done here. But let's hit a few headlines right out the gate. I'm a Goldberg fan. Okay. I genuinely am. I don't say that because he's back. I say it because I genuinely am a Goldberg fan. I don't have any idea other than giving Drew McIntyre the rub in the curtain jerk of Royal Rumble. Why in the world Bill was even there? What is there another reason that I'm not seeing except just getting Drew over? What was the point of this?
I don't know. Maybe they were trying to go for a big marquee Royal Rumble match. I don't know. It didn't really move the needle in my opinion. Good win for Drew. I don't know.
I mean, if the goal is to establish a track record of Drew beating legends, okay, I'll bite. But again, as we said, the backstory to this was horrible, and because it really was horrible. Bill had. I feel bad for Bill because the story going into this is going to be like Bill out there talking crap. Bill wasn't talking crap. Bill was doing what he was told to say. So had that been better, you know what I mean? I have a problem with guys catching flack for stuff that they didn't write. I mean, if you want to give a guy flack for working the match, fine. I guess if you want to do that, go do that. But even then, that feels kind of weird. But the whole idea of, well, he said so-and-so doesn't make any sense. Well, they don't put words in his mouth. They did that. I mean, and dude, I was surprised it didn't circle back around during the course of the show. We didn't see Bill again. I kind of thought maybe he'd pop back up for some reason, but it never happened. I actually thought he'd be in the Rumble and it didn't happen.
That's what I thought. I thought he was going to enter the Rumble. When that match went on first, I thought that Bill was going to enter the Rumble and win and challenge Roman.
Yeah, I agree with that totally because that's the match that makes sense. Gerald says the national anthem was longer than the match. Cherie says it was hot garbage. Are we going to hit 3 buttons in a row right off the bat? Is that what you're asking me for, Cherie? Cherie says the match was
hot garbage.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty forgettable. I don't know.
I can't sit here and say that I hated it. I can't say I loved it either. And Bill did the obligatory, hey, Drew's your top face. I'm going to be a man and shake his hand. And then he raised his arm and he did the thing, hey, here's your guy. He's the man. I respect him. But then Bill drops character, as Bill often does. And when Bill hugs him a couple of times, you know that Bill's in his ear saying, thank you, man. Thank you for everything. I really appreciate this. Because that's the kind of guy he is. I mean, the first raising the hand deal is the story and you got to do this. But the rest of that bit was him being a genuine person, which I always appreciated. We'll get to the Edge bit here shortly, but Dante Hewitt says Edge versus Roman Reigns. We'll get there, Dante. Hang tight with us here. Let's see. Jamel, where'd you go? Where'd you go, Jamel? There he is. So glad he lost. It doesn't make Drew look stronger. I would have preferred Sheamus versus Drew. You're going to get that now. I mean, they're laying the groundwork for it, which I think I called that at some point. I was the only guy calling it, but Alicia, what's up? The only thing I could think of was they just needed a match for Drew on the card. I think they could have found someone else that made more sense. Someone that had more of a connection. I mean, I guess the idea was, Phil, that, hey, we're going to do Sheamus versus Drew, but we need to push that back as far as we can, so let's just bring Bill in.
Yeah, I kind of feel like Sheamus versus Drew makes more sense at a big 4 pay-per-view like Royal Rumble, because it's been going on for a while now. And to push it back to like Elimination Chamber or Fastlane, which is a, nothing pay-per-view before WrestleMania that nobody expects Sheamus to win it anyway, just kind of makes it feel pointless.
Yeah, I agree with that totally. So let's go ahead and hit the second match. We can always come back to it. Sasha Banks retains the Raw Women's Championship. SmackDown? SmackDown. I got backwards on that. SmackDown Women's Championship against Carmella. What first results or first reaction coming out of this match?
I wasn't too in on this new Carmella gimmick when she first started doing the vignettes, but I think it's working. I think she's been great in the role so far. She's continuing to prove that she's really improved in the ring. Other than that dive that was a little bit dodgy, it was a good match.
Yeah, I agree with that. I've never been a huge fan of hers, but she's winning me over. I'll say this for her. She worked incredibly hard in that match. Yeah. And I think it showed. I don't know if she's the best opponent for Sasha, but the whole point is when you've got a champion you believe in, that you have to build logical contenders. And that's what they did with Carmella. What do you think about her sidekick? What's your take on all that? The little thing where this guy just gets thrown around by the women. I mean, what's your gut instinct on this stuff?
I think he's a good talent. All the acrobatic stuff he does is pretty cool. I like him and Carmella's dynamic, but I'm not sure if you needed him to be such a big part of this match. Like I said, I think he's good. I like them together. But it was a little bit too much interfering and flipping off the apron.
He seems to pop up a lot, and they seem to use him a lot. And dude, I'm still of the same opinion I've always been in. If you're going to let a woman throw a man around, how long before you let a man throw a woman around? And then, it goes. I think all this is based on personal preference. I don't personally care to see men versus women. That's a personal take. I smartened my kid up a long time ago to the business because I didn't need a 4-year-old child thinking it was okay to solve problems with your fists. So when he was old enough to watch TV, Daddy didn't want him thinking this was okay. So he's been smarting up for a long time. He still enjoys watching it, the big moves and stuff, the big high spots, but he already is in the loop. I don't think I need him to see a man, even if it's forearm shots, hitting a woman in the face. Yes, I can explain it to him. Yes, I can tell him it's all part of the show, but I don't know. The look for me personally is not, I'm just not feeling that. And I know if you've got a man who's a responsible worker, he would take care and protect anybody he's working, male or female. And kudos to them. And I get that. You do want to be safe. I don't argue that point. But from a personal aesthetic, I just don't care to see men versus women. And I think that once you start down that slope, especially in a publicly traded company, how far do you think they would actually go with that?
I don't think WWE is going to do much intergender wrestling in 2021. I don't have a problem with intergender wrestling. I think long as you do it in a tasteful way, I think it's good. If you look at the stuff with Tessa and Impact, all that stuff works. As long as you don't have anything crazy like, some of the Attitude Era intergender stuff that didn't age that well, I'm fine with it.
Linda, you took the time to type such a comment, so we're going to put you up here. Good morning, my friend. So happy that Bianca Belair won the Rumble. I'm glad Edge won, but hearing people saying he didn't deserve to win. Let's see, one of the newer guys should have won it, but it is what it is. We're going to get to all this, Linda, but thank you for your comment. I'm hearing people on both sides of the topic when it comes to Edge, for sure, and I promise you we'll get there. Richard, what's up? Thank you for hanging out. Hope you have a nice weekend as well. Let's go ahead and get to the next match so we can get through this card. Bianca Belair, as Linda brought up, wins the Women's Royal Rumble. Now, Phil, I know Phil, you're a big fan of this. I was as well. She finally gets her due. We had a comment from someone else here in the comments that said they would prefer to see Bayley win it. Sean says, my thought is Bayley should have won the Women's Royal Rumble, not Belair. What's your immediate reaction to that?
I think Bayley's fine. Like, Bayley is a Grand Slam champion. She's missed Money in the Bank 2019, right? Yes. Bianca still hasn't gotten a big win under her belt yet. So I think she could use this. You can make a very strong case that Bianca should have won last year when she was getting all those eliminations. But, having her and Naomi be Iron Women in this match, I really enjoyed that. Really happy for Bianca. Really emotional win for her as well. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I talk about emotional. And there again, you have the juxtaposition of here's what I do for the camera and here's my real reaction, which I think it happened here as well. I think the first, and not that she was told, I don't know if of course, I don't know SWB, they might micromanage to this point. Not that she was told, hey, when you win, you just get emotional. But it could have been that it was, hey, I'm going to do this thing. But then it just kept on. And then we saw behind the curtain, she's hugging Montez. And it was like, yeah, she's really into this. They were clapping and stuff. I still have, dude, I'm going to be honest with you. I kind of wish they wouldn't show me things like that. Only because, and I say this as a pro wrestling writer, talking to a pro wrestling writer who write about pro wrestling behind the scenes. But I don't know that I want the curtain peeled back for moments like that. They could have not put that on camera and it would have been fine. And you can hear people clapping and off camera. And I'm like, I don't know. Is that a moment you share with the world? I mean, I don't know that she cared. The curtain's pulled back so far, but am I just being too picky here with this?
Well, they just did the 24. And I think they want to, bring it full circle. That was my thoughts on why they showed it. Did we necessarily need it? Not really. Like I said, it was a beautiful moment for her. It was cool that she got to share that with Montez. So I don't know. Other than that, I didn't really need to see it.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sandy says Bayley versus Sasha again is boring, I think, and having a fresh opponent, Bianca, is better. Sandy, I think you're right. Bayley versus Sasha is always going to work, but you don't want it 6 weeks in a row for the next year. You just don't every single time, because it will get stale. And, I've talked about this before, Phil, about, even the best feuds of all time, you can't consistently do it every single week or people are going to burn out on it. I mean, Randy Orton versus John Cena was good in the beginning and it had great moments but when you did it all the time for 4 pay-per-views and then on TV every single week, and then it got to be, we're going to do it one more time, pal. And then it got to be, nope, we're going to do it one more time. And then it's like, at that point, people were absolutely hating on Orton versus Cena. And it's so unfair to those guys because they always brought the best out of each other every time. But as the fan base, we were like, oh, again with Randy and John? Like, I totally get what Sandy is saying there, and I agree with you totally. It is time to, time to go with fresh faces. Shane with a different take. It was too early for Belair to win. Mandy Rose or Ruby Riott should have won. Phil, give me your take on Mandy, because let me hit you with mine real quick. Mandy, I don't know. Maybe I'm reading this wrong. I got nothing from Mandy Rose, and it's nothing personal. It's nothing against her, but I just don't. When I see her on my TV, I don't pop. I don't react one way or the other. I'm just like, that's Mandy Rose. Have they done enough to make me care about her? Have they done enough to make you care about her?
No, they haven't given her enough of a character. I think she is a underrated worker. I think she's got some great knee strikes. That bicycle knee she does looks great every time she does it. But as far as character, like, there's nothing really to grasp at. I mean, I think she works as a tag team wrestler. I think you get a good tag team and, use her in that division. But as far as that, I don't see anything that great. As far as it being too early for Bianca, I mean, she's been on a main roster for almost a year at this point. She never won the NXT championship, and she should have. I think she should have won NXT Women's Championship at least at Takeover New York. So I mean, she's never gotten a major win. I don't see why you would wait any longer. I mean, this is a historic win, first Black woman to win a Rumble. And you're possibly getting two Black women in a Mania match. That's a big deal. Why not pull the trigger on it right now while you can? I do like Sonya Deville quite a bit, but it doesn't seem like she's ready to wrestle again yet. And if you're looking at new people that you want to make a star on that women's division, Bianca's the obvious choice. I mean, she looks great. She has great athleticism, great moveset. I've been saying since Mania, give her something, push her to the moon.
And this is not a matter, Phil, of, well, we got to get diverse in these matches. Let's find somebody. They didn't have to find somebody. Bianca was ready. I'm with you.
Yeah.
This wasn't, we have to go outside and find somebody else. No, she's there and do it and book her against Sasha. Because listen, we can sit back and preach about diversity in pro wrestling all day long and say companies are doing, what they're doing a fairly good job or whatever, but the proof's in the pudding. Just pull the trigger. It's the same thing we were saying with Nakamura. Yeah. For God's sake, just forget what they look like. If the person is ready and it's a good angle, why do you skip over? Of course, that's a whole over different show. Everybody relax. I'm not trying to get controversial, but why do you skip over? I don't know, because when you do skip over someone that's earned it and doesn't get there, you're going to create the impression, I know why they skipped her over. Now, if that wasn't your intention, great. But you have to know that's going to be how it's perceived. So I'm with you. I don't know of anybody better they could have had put over. Bayley's already been there. She'll get there again. It's not the end of the world. It's time for fresh blood in this division, man, because you and I have talked forever about this division needs to be strengthened and get better.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're looking at homegrown talent, why not push Bianca forward? You did it for Charlotte. As soon as she got to the main roster, you gave her everything. You pushed her to the moon. So do it with Bianca as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and why not? Why not do it? That's the question I'm asking. Let's see. Alicia says, can we please get rid of the Rick, Lacey, and Charlotte crap? It doesn't work.
We didn't talk about the tag match. I forgot about it because it was on the kickoff show.
I didn't even include it. You're right. I totally forgot about it. Did you ever watch it?
I saw like the highlights of it. Yeah, the women's tag division is a mess. They've got to get rid of this Rick and Charlotte thing as soon as possible. It was in two parts of the show. You had it in a tag match, and then you did it again in the Rumble. It doesn't add anything. I don't know if it's supposed to get us to side with Charlotte. It's not getting us to side with Charlotte.
No,
it's not working. Charlotte is just a better heel. She's not relatable. She's not sympathetic in this role. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, it again, with a lot of this stuff that you and I talk about on this show, stuff that you and I have questioned for years independently of each other. What is the point? Where are we going? And I'll be honest with you, man. A lot of times I don't think they have a clue where they're going. Doesn't mean there's idiots there, depending on who you ask. I don't know. I'm not throwing stones, but I just think is, hey, I got a great idea. Let's do it. And then a month into it, one of them goes, hey, wait a minute. We forgot about, and one of them go, oh God, you're right. And then they don't. It's like one hand doesn't know what the other hand's doing a lot of time in that company. And that company's rich. Newsflash, spoiler alert, everybody. Vince McMahon has a few dollars in the bank. He's not shopping with a calculator, okay? So that essentially means he doesn't care what I think, doesn't even care about Phil, doesn't care about any of you. Forget that noise. He does not care. So, begs the question, why are we even talking about him? But here's the point, real point. In the process of not caring, in the process of making his great-great-great-great-grandkids millionaires, okay? Great. I'm not saying anything, but like in the process of all that happening, the product is not always the easiest thing to watch or digest. And we're left with dangling plot lines and storytelling devices that go nowhere or that are antiquated and stuff that seems to make no sense. That's a whole other conversation. We'll move on before I get a migraine. Roman retains. But is it over with Kevin Owens? I didn't feel as though, Phil, that this thing ended. Am I crazy?
I think it's time to move on from Kevin Owens. I think they're going to have great matches. But at this point, nobody thinks Kevin Owens is going to beat him. You got to move on from this and give him another opponent because it's just predictable at this point.
Yeah.
And that's not a shot at them again. They're doing a great job. Kevin Owens is just trying to throw his life on the line in every single one of these matches. And they're working their butts off. But it's time to give him another opponent.
Yeah, you're right, putting his life on the line. And let's address the 500-pound gorilla in the room. There's two moments. You're smiling. You know what I'm going to say, right? There's two moments in this match. And I don't care what anyone says. They used a golf cart in WWE before, Tom. First of all, shut up. Second, it doesn't matter because had they just done the cart, I would have probably let it go. But the second thing they did was the forklift, which you and Troy and I called. I think Troy called it. And last week out of jest. Wasn't jest. It actually happened. And Owens did the swanton off the friggin' forklift. And they basically mocked or ripped off two different spots from the Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara match. There it is in AEW. Dude, who do you think behind the scenes is pushing the button for this to happen and said, I got a great idea. You guys want to, hey, number one, why do this? Was it to thumb their nose at AEW and say, we can do it, but we'll do it safely? What was the purpose of that?
I don't know. They've had to ramp up every match with KO so far because, they've made him into this, indestructible, persistent challenger. I don't know that the golf cart added that much to this match, or even a forklift. Again, it just seemed like spots for the sake of having spots in there. Like I said, I don't know, and it could be that at the end of the day, we all know that Kevin Owens was going to lose, and I think if there was any suspense to the match, maybe I wouldn't be sitting here saying that, but there wasn't really any suspense to it. We know Roman is going to WrestleMania with the title. Nobody thinks he's going to lose the title before WrestleMania.
Right. Yeah, you're right. I see a lot of comments in the chat talking about botch. You and I had a conversation after we wrapped up another episode of the 6M podcast last night. One of the words we threw out that's a trigger word for yours truly is botch. Listen, kids, I'm not going to tell you how to talk. It's free country. Last time I checked, especially now, because I'm still celebrating. I'm just saying, moving on. But still free country. You can talk how you want. I don't really care. But the word botch has got to go. Listen, there's mistakes. There's accidents. There's screw-ups. It doesn't need to be labeled. We don't need to label every single thing. If we're addressing what happened between Matt and Sammy, Matt could be dead right now. Would you call it a botch then? No disrespect to anybody calling it that. But I don't think it's funny, in my opinion. When a guy could have been seriously hurt, injured, crippled, or killed, it's not funny to me. So the word botch just seems goofy and outdated. And I'm glad Roman and Kevin are safe. I didn't wish anything on them. I didn't wish anything on Sami and Matt. I want everybody to be safe, obviously. The botch at the end of the match, which may be what people are talking about, wasn't a botch. It was just the timing was wrong. Paul was fiddling with the key to the cuffs. Maybe they didn't time it correctly. Maybe that ref shouldn't have come running out there and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe someone slow the ref down or they're wearing earpieces. Hey, ref, stop counting, which he eventually did. I mean, was there a way to fix that besides just having the ref do his job better? Was there a way to fix that?
You could have did a good old-fashioned ref bump.
Maybe Paul could have got up and just grabbed hold of his. Yeah, because there would have been no DQ, right? It was the last man standing match. And if it was DQ, Roman still retains. So just have Paul grab him and shove him down.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe they could have. And Jeff just asked the same question I did. How could they have done that mistake less obvious than stop the count? Yeah, Jeff, we were just talking about the same thing.
Yeah. Just maybe if Paul just pushed him down and stopped the count. I don't know.
Elvis Martinez apparently wants to vote Phil Lindsay in 2024. I don't know where this came from. Did you ever want to run for office?
No. No. I don't belong enough.
I got too many enemies already. I don't need any more. Let's see. Let's move on here, kids. If I can find the button, let's talk about the men's Royal Rumble surprises. Let's get on with this. Let's talk about a few surprises. I got them listed here. Carlito, Damian Priest, Kane. Not much of a surprise with Kane. Stand back. There's a hurricane coming through. And Christian, who looks like he just stepped out of TNA and came back to WWE, like he hasn't aged. Christian looks, and look, this is going to sound bad because Edge is in phenomenal shape. I think Christian looks better, not as grizzled. Like Edge is a grizzled old guy. I'm sorry. Like you could look at Edge and go, Edge, you got older. Welcome back. Wow. But Christian looks freaking great, man. I mean, what happened to this career injury? It's over. And Edge and freaking Christian are in the same Royal Rumble in 2021. I mean, let me hit you with this. Do you care about Edge and Christian in the Royal Rumble in 2021? What's your thoughts on that?
I honestly thought you'd have a hard time beating Victoria coming back for the Women's Royal Rumble because she wanted it so bad, and they had denied her return for so many years. I don't know if you heard the story that she was there for one of the ladder matches or something. Like she watched it in the stadium, and she wanted to go backstage just to tell the women, "Great job," and they wouldn't even let her backstage.
What?
Yeah, so I don't know why she was getting denied for so long, but just seeing how emotional she was when she came out, and just knowing how much she wanted that return, I thought that was the best surprise return of the night. Edge and Christian are like they've got a special place like for all of the goofy stuff during the Attitude Era, like the kazoos, the posing and all the goofy sunglasses. All of it is great. Did I really need to see it in 2021? Not really. I don't know. I don't want to say that the men's Rumble was not great. I think it's just the women's Rumble was so good that it felt like the women's Rumble should have main evented the show.
I saw your tweet when that happened. I agree with you. I mean, it should have been the headlining match for sure. Jamil says, "I'm a peep. I'm marked for Christian." I've forgotten about the peeps. That's good stuff.
Peep show.
Yeah. Ray says Carlito looked awesome. Carlito,
he did. He looked amazing.
Cut from stone. This guy. What happened? Oh my God! I spit in the face of people who don't work out because wow,
can't spit apple in anybody's face because COVID, folks.
COVID, right? I forgot about that. Yeah. Talk about a gimmick that they shoved down your throat when he was first there. My God, right?
Yes.
And didn't they run some kind of thing where they said that he attacked John Cena in a bar or something? When all this first happened, I think they dropped it fairly quickly, if my memory serves correctly. It seemed like they tried to link these two guys up before he ever got actually on TV or after he got on TV. Ray says Adam Cole should have been in it and won it. Phil agrees.
That was one of the things that I thought about. I was sitting there like there weren't any real NXT appearances in this match other than Damian. I was surprised. I was surprised they didn't go for like Cole or maybe Gargano or somebody. They didn't see anybody from NXT.
I love Adam, and this is going to break Ray's heart. He might quit watching the show. I don't think Adam Cole gets a serious main event opportunity on the main roster. I don't see it. I think they look at Cole and say he's too small. And I know Ray's small, and every time you say, I think this guy might be too small. Well, Tom, there's Rey Mysterio. You can't compare a guy that was a star in WCW, WWE, former world champion, WrestleMania highlights. Listen, just because a guy's short doesn't mean, well, Rey Mysterio, Tom, shut up. Adam Cole's tremendous, and I love him. But be real with me. Do you see him main eventing a SmackDown as Universal Champion anytime soon? Like, say next year, next month. I'm honestly, I don't think I see it.
Well, I think the larger thing is he's among that crowd of guys that don't want to leave NXT. So I don't see him leaving NXT anytime soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not like smaller guys other than like Daniel Bryan are doing great on the main roster. I don't, unless they have something planned for Adam Cole, I don't think they should move him up. And you know them, they will do something in a heartbeat without having a plan, i.e. Keith Lee. So to me, unless they have a plan to push this guy and make him into a big deal on the main roster and make Undisputed Era the big deal that they should be on the main roster, I don't think they should call them up.
Victor Vasquez says, was Matt Riddle trying to do the 5-minute bro? Because he was hooking up with Edge and Christian in the ring and trying to make friends with them. Here's what I thought the minute I saw those three guys together. I thought Edge and Christian in their prime as a heel tag team would have had crazy amount of fun with a stupid Matt Riddle. They would have used him. They would have sent him after their coffee. They would have had him run errands backstage. It would have been all over TV. And he's just, bro. And they're both like laughing at him behind his back. That would have been so much fun. Like, I think the reason the Matt Riddle stuff doesn't work for me is that he's got no one to play off of. He throws it on everybody. And you're like, oh, Matt Riddle's stupid now. Okay. He must have got hit in the head or something. What happened? But yeah, that's why it doesn't work for me, man. He doesn't have a straight man to play off of.
Yeah, it's gotten a little annoying for me, to be honest. It's like they're trying to still do the stoner bro thing, but without the context, and it just makes him look stupid. And it just, I don't know. I don't feel like it gives him any legitimacy. It's like you're trying to sell him as this legitimate, shoot fighter, but then you also have him acting like a dumb surfer bro. It just doesn't work. I was really surprised how long he lasted in the Rumble.
God, I know.
I thought he would have been out of there. I certainly didn't think he would outlast Big E. I thought Big E would have made it at least to the final four. And so when Riddle made it that far, I was like, really? Interesting.
Yeah, I'm with you. I thought Big E would have been one of the last guys standing. Shane says this is why AEW is better. Darby Allin would be a joke in WWE. Shane, you could say that about 36 guys right now. However, Phil's word just now was context. With the proper context, with the proper setup, with the proper introduction and backstory, WWE is still screwed up. But the point is, if everything in a perfect world, he could work in WWE. I'm sorry, I don't think it's impossible. Nothing's impossible. I saw Bret Hart shake hands and hug Shawn Michaels. Nothing's impossible. I saw Eric Bischoff on Monday Night Raw. Nothing's impossible. Don't tell me about impossible. I've seen impossible come to life on my TV. I mean, anything's possible in that company. However, to Shane's credit, there's no way they would showcase him the way AEW does, because AEW sees something in Darby that I don't know if Vince would see. They see, and I've spoke to Matt Hardy about this before, about Jeff Hardy is, for lack of your better comparison, he's your Captain Jack Sparrow. You've got everybody else who's this way and Jack Sparrow who's this way. And he's just sort of that. That's Jeff. That is Jeff's natural personality. That's why Jeff, from a mile away, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, people were like, oh my God, that kid right there, that kid. You could see it. Darby has that, I think, where he's got that look, he's got that aura around him where it's like, man, I don't know how this works, but this works. I like this kid. I mean, I've seen him live before he ever got to AEW, and the stuff he was doing was, I mean, scary, frightening to watch. I'm thinking he's going to get killed tonight. But that's not for the sake of making a highlight reel. That's just how he tells his stories. And, you know, I don't know, man. That's why I think people make the connection between him and Jeff, and I think it's actually very appropriate. What's your thing? What's your thought on that?
I think Darby's great. I mean, he moves really well in the ring. Some of those coffin drops and stuff he does, I'm just kind of like, please be safe, sir. Please be safe. But I think he's great. I think, like you said, he's got a edge to him. He's got a clear character to him. I think he would have had a tough time with WWE just because of the way they try to make everything so dialed up. I don't think they would have given him the same range that AEW has to be, you know, subdued and to not have to cut promos. He would be cutting these super long, overly scripted promos with WWE.
Yeah. Yeah. God, that's disheartening just to think about, but you're right. Sean says Darby is doing Sting from WCW. Sean, I disagree. Darby has been doing Darby for a very long time. Tony Khan put him in the rafters. That wasn't Darby's ask or call. Tony Khan has flat out said that. Because he's wanting to hook up him. Like any kid that paints his face, you can say he's doing Sting. If you want to, Sean, I get where you're coming from, but I disagree. Darby's doing Darby. And they had the opportunity to bring Sting in and think they can do something with him and it's good for the company. Why not put him there with Darby? I think it's fine. Here's something I got tired of hearing Sunday, Phil. There's no DQs in the Royal Rumble.
Oh my God. So since we're talking about the Big E thing, I did not like the way the Big E was eliminated. It just felt like if you're going to have Omos do that, what's to stop Ali from just having Retribution come down and just eliminate all these people before they get it when they get in the ring?
Yes.
What is the difference? And Ali just kind of did nothing and got eliminated early. But meanwhile, Omos was all over this match.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not have Slapjack down there? Because if you're going to have someone do it, it needs to be Slapjack. Slapjack! To the day I die, I'll never get over that. Just so you know.
Or have Mace, have another big guy out there doing the same thing. Something.
Yeah.
Maybe there were some COVID issues, and that's why they didn't want them down there. I don't know. But I don't know. I felt the way that Big E was eliminated was pretty anticlimactic. There were a few guys that they had really lit a fire under right before Royal Rumble, and I thought this was the best they've built the field for a Royal Rumble in a long time. It really felt like anybody could win. And I think that's why the outcome for me fell a little flat, because it was like, okay, you built up Bryan, you built up Nakamura, you have been building up Big E for over a year. All these guys kind of got eliminated in uneventful fashion. And then you get to the Final Four, and Edge and Christian are in the Final Four. It was kind of like, huh?
Yeah, I agree with that. And like I said, if this has been a thing, for how many years has the Rumble been on the air? 30 or something? If this has been a thing, Tom, there's no DQs in Royal Rumble. Let's tell everybody. Okay, then how come this hasn't been done before? How come it's? I mean, from a kayfabe perspective, there will be DQs next year because it'll be we listen to the fans and they're right. You know, because from I know it's funny from a real world kayfabe perspective in which that here's the WWE's reality in which the referee is truly counting three. He's truly calling a rope break. This person truly got disqualified. Then in that fictional reality, then no DQs should be called out because it needs to be addressed. It needs to be addressed in some form or fashion. Maybe there should be no one accompanying you to ringside anymore for a Royal Rumble. Maybe because if all this has been possible from day one, how come we've never seen it? Because somebody said, hey, we should have people at ringside and we can just say there's no DQ and we need to find a way to get this guy out and get this girl out. So let's just have him run in there like Nia Jackson, freaking Baszler got back in the ring how many times?
Yeah, that was weird. That was one of the spots in the women's rumble that I was kind of like, did we need that? But yeah, the men's rumble, I think that was part of it that kind of slowed the match down, in my opinion, with all of the interference from Omos. And don't get me wrong, I think Omos is great, and I think the dynamic between him and AJ is great. I think it was a little bit too much Omos in this match. It was kind of like the spot didn't feel fresh anymore because he kept getting thrown out the ring and he'd catch him and put him back in. And I get it, somebody finally outsmarted him, gets thrown out. But man, to have Big E eliminated like that by nobody else on the field, you didn't even take the time to build an IC title feud off of this. Like, where was Apollo in this match? Like,
good call.
I don't know. I don't know.
Good call. Alicia addressing the issue as well. I don't understand the whole AJ needs a bodyguard thing. It doesn't work for me. AJ is a smarmy, cowardly, dastardly heel. And by giving him a bodyguard, you give him another dimension. You give him something to do backstage behind the curtain on vignettes and on spots. You give him something to do. And it's another thing for him to hide behind because AJ as a heel is a cowardly heel who runs from a fight. To me, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we know AJ can wrestle. We know that he is fantastic. And if he wins matches clean and he's doing all this cool stuff, then you're just tempted to root for him again. But if he cheats and if he does things and they don't give us what we want, then we won't like it. That's the whole purpose of it, in my opinion.
Sean says they're needing to break up New Day. It's been, I don't know what your last word is there, my friend. Talked about. It's been talked about for 3 years to break up New Day. Phil, do you see a need to break up New Day? For God's sake, why break them up? No,
never ever break up the New Day.
I agree.
You can do what you have now and have them on different brands. You don't need to break them up. There's no need to break them up. They're just not like a typical wrestling faction. They're not the type of guys that would break up because of jealousy or somebody wants to get the single run, so they'll stab each other in the back. That's just not who they are as characters. So it just wouldn't work.
I mean, if you really wanted to run faction versus faction thing again, like they did in the good old days of the Shield versus the Wyatt family, how about just put New Day back together where they're crossing brands and attacking Ali and Retribution? And they show up in jeans and t-shirts like they did in the Wyatt family compound, and they got baseball bats and they just take them out. And their comment to Retribution is, "We're not a faction, we're family. You've run down Kofi long enough. It's over. We're going to take you down." I would love to see that. I mean, every time Retribution does the weird digital crap and then New Day comes out and just takes them down, and you're like, I think that's how you could end Retribution. I think that's how because they're going to end before New Day does. I'm sorry. You know what I mean?
What is the plan for Retribution at this point? I'm kind of lost on it because to me, once you start this stuff with Kofi, you kind of finally have a few where they have like a motivation and they have a target. And so they didn't really do anything in the Rumble. Ali got tossed out. So he already got comeuppance there. And then he lost on Raw. Yeah. So it was like, where do we go now with this feud?
Well, the bad part about this whole Retribution thing not going anywhere is the fact that Slapjack is just done so much good work, and I'm sorry, I can't get over that crap. They've never had a plan. They didn't have a plan before Ali got to them. I think Ali came back and they're like, "Hey, let's just put Ali with them." And they're like, "Okay." And they did it. And like, I don't think there's ever been a plan.
Yeah, which is a shame. I really like Ali. And I think the stuff that he tries to do is cool. Like all the stuff he does online is fantastic. The stuff where they actually let him cut promos, such a great promo guy.
Oh my God.
They just don't seem to have anything planned for him. It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in a different reality with live audiences in attendance, I could have envisioned Ali being the thorn in the side of the Authority, where he's maybe not Retribution crap, but where he's just his promos just pop up on the big screen in the middle of an Authority celebration or something, and he just sits back and just burns them down. I mean, I would have paid to see that. Let's move on a little bit here. Guys that we were high on last week during the Royal Rumble preview show, all eliminated. Ali, Big E, Daniel Bryan, and Nakamura. None of those cats won.
None of them were even in the final four.
Yeah, jeez. There's time for Ali. There's time for Big E. Daniel's time's ticking. People make it sound like this guy's practically dead. Ridiculous. I don't know who. Well, his time's ticking. He wants to get behind the camera. He wants to get off TV. Shut up. God, the guy says one thing one time. He says one thing one time, and the whole world runs with. Well, that means he's going to go. Shut up. I mean, and Nakamura, who continues to be one of the best they have, and could do anything they ask him to, and has done anything they ask him to. But none of these four guys. I mean, dude, at this point, put the four of them together. There's a faction. Can you imagine this faction? Are you kidding me? Wow.
Yeah, I thought they did a great job heating Nakamura up. That promo that he cut for the backstage segment that went up on Friday was great, and I was super excited for what he was going to do in the Rumble, and it kind of didn't go anywhere. Same thing with Bryan. You do all this stuff, heat him up, tell us he's never won a Rumble before, and then he's out before the Final Four. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the Ali stuff, like I said, I don't know what they're doing with Ali. The Big E stuff, I had this suspicion when he won the IC title on Christmas and they had the confetti and they made it seem like the biggest win of his career. I was like, yeah, this is the ceiling for him right now. They're not going to put him in a big Mania match. They're going to keep him with the IC title, which is a shame, but that's just what it felt like at the time. And once I was looking at it Mania, I was like, well, guess I was right. I mean, we'll Rumble. Like I said, I can see him in a world title picture. I don't know why. And I mean, maybe they don't want him to put him against Roman straight away. Maybe they want to save that match for later. I don't know. But I thought it was a real shame that they didn't take a chance to get any of these guys at least in the Final Four. I thought Rollins did great in what he did when he came back. Did we necessarily need Rollins in the Final Four, though, after he hasn't been on TV? Maybe not.
Rollins should have been on Monday Night Raw and not the Royal Rumble. I think you saved Seth for Monday. That's my opinion. I think you save Seth for Monday and you bring him out and get him in Drew's face. Or if you want to, I mean, you go big or go home with Seth Rollins. I mean, I didn't think it was necessary to do it on Sunday because it just didn't go anywhere for me. Elvis Martinez says Retribution should hold all the gold. Have Ali as U.S. champ, Mace and T-Bar as tag team champs. Slapjack as WWE champion.
Wasn't expecting that. Slapjack.
Yeah, I know, right? Hey, listen. I mean, you've got the greats of the industry. You've got Lou Thez, Buddy Rogers, Bruno Sammartino, Ric Flair, Slapjack. I mean, it just fits. It's right there. It's in front of them.
To me, but see, I don't think Retribution needs titles, right? Because their whole gimmick is they just want to muck up the joint. They want to cause havoc. So why is their aim the same as any other wrestler on your brand? Why would you sign them with contracts? Why would they decide, oh, we need to be in a Rumble to get title matches? What makes them anarchists if they are just going to do everything in your system like anybody else?
If they're going to obey the 10 count, if they're going to obey the 5 count,
exactly.
If they're going to,
I don't know.
I mean, how'd they get entrance music? How'd they get an entrance video? How do they get their names put up on TV? How?
With this super well-produced logo.
Yeah. And merch on WWEshop.com.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they need all that.
Phil, I'm giving this to you. Ali or Ricochet, which is worst utilized?
Ricochet by far. Ricochet is the best high flyer in the world. The fact that they're not doing anything to showcase him, and I was sitting watching the Rumble, and I was like, okay, he lost his match on Raw, right? Wasn't he not supposed to be able to compete in the Rumble? But he was there anyway.
Right.
I don't know. But I don't know what they're doing with Ricochet. They started off wrong to begin with. He should have never been in a tag team. I honestly think he was one of those guys. If you want to keep guys on NXT, Ricochet could have stayed on NXT longer. Never won NXT championship. never really got into an NXT championship feud. You could have did more with him on NXT. And I don't feel like anything you did with him or Black really helped either of them.
Why don't you say it? Ricochet stole his name, his Prince Puma. What? Scotty can't be Prince Puma in WWE. That is a Lucha Underground gimmick, obviously.
No,
Come on, Sean. Come on.
He stole his name from like the Lucha cartoon.
Yeah. Come on. I mean, we have to be. This is Vince McMahon we're talking about here. The fact that AJ Styles is not, AJ, Guggenheim or something is shocking to me. I mean, I don't know where that came from. So he's an artist.
But yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, they're both underutilized, but I would say Ricochet by far because Ricochet is amazing. Every time he gets a chance to have matches, like the match with Ali was great. The match with AJ a few weeks ago was great. Just let this guy wrestle, man.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. Why not? Robbie says, this is off topic, but with Jay constantly trying to prove he is a valuable member at the table and constantly getting old, he needs to at least win a small title like United States or a Continental title to at least save face at the table. Phil, I don't know how you feel about this, but I vehemently disagree. I think any success on Jey Uso's part is seen as a detriment to Roman Reigns and his character. I think Roman would look at that and go, you got a belt, huh? Think you're somebody? I'll put you in your place. I think he'd be threatened by that because a secondary championship is a contender to the heavyweight championship.
Right.
I could see that turning.
Yeah, I don't think he needs. I think that's what it is. It's like it's a perfect example for this is when Tama and the Firing Squad kicked the lead out of the Bullet Club. Everybody immediately went, okay, well, Tama's got to race to the moon. He's got to be next champion. Give us what we want. They're the heels. We're not supposed to get what we want. What we want is Jay to get the win and to get this rewarding victory. He's a heel. We're not supposed to get what we want with him. We're supposed to boo him. And I think they're waiting for Jimmy to come back personally and to get the tag titles back on him. That's what I feel like is coming. All three of those guys would go around their ways.
Yeah, I could see that. I don't think tag team titles would be a threat to Roman's character in the slightest. I don't think he would look at that as being anything other than just a tag team title. I do, however, feel a secondary title would be, in the character Roman Reigns' eyes, be a threat to him. Alma with some breaking news here. Evidently broke an hour ago. Hacksaw Butch Reed passed away this morning from a massive heart attack. Butch was 65 years old. Deepest thoughts and condolences go out to the friends, family, and fans of Butch Reed. Any Butch Reed memories that you have? Did you catch his stuff in WCW when he was with Ron Simmons in Doom by any chance?
I mean, when I think the name Butch, I just immediately think him and Ron Simmons, big, huge, imposing guys with Teddy in the middle with the do-rag and the suits on. Just, it's a tragic loss. Yes,
I agree. Yeah, it's a shame. I'd been hearing he's been in bad health, I think. I've been hearing that for a while. And it's a shame. Anytime we lose somebody in the business, it's never good. Anytime you lose anybody, it's not a good day. So, all the best to his family. Tragic news there. Let's see. Sandy, before we move on, Cesaro is not being pushed for years now. She leave WWE. Sandy, funny you mentioned that. Yours truly has a new column up on Geek Vibes Nation about that very topic. So I'm not going to answer. Go read it. I'm just kidding. I'll answer. Phil, what do you think? Do you think it's time for Cesaro to cut his losses and go try his luck elsewhere?
Yes. I think it's time. He's never going to get the push to the world title picture that we want him to get as fans with WWE. I think it depends on what he wants as a performer. I can totally see him staying. I can see reasons why he would stay. But for me, as a fan of him, I would like for him to leave.
Yeah, I agree with that. I wrote that column late last night / early this morning. And the word is that his contract is up after WrestleMania 37. So we'll see what happens. But I'd love to see him get a shot somewhere else. In the end of the Royal Rumble, folks, Edge was in at the first and wins in the end, outlasted 29 other superstars. I'll combine my question about Edge with this Royal Rumble overall. Phil, hit or miss, include in that conversation. What do you think about Edge winning the Rumble?
I wasn't that excited about Edge winning the Rumble, to be honest. I don't want to be a downer on it. I think the story of him coming back to wrestling is great. It's a poignant story. Um, I don't know if we need him to win and get a title shot out of that, though. That's just my personal opinion. He's been off TV for months now, and you've had all these guys that you've been heating up for weeks going into the Rumble, and then he comes back the week before the Rumble and just wins. It just kind of felt deflating.
Yeah.
And again, that's not to take away from any of his fans that enjoyed it. Like what you like, folks. But for me, it just it didn't strike the same chord as Bianca winning for a number of reasons. And I think that was the other thing. I think if you had him winning early in the night, fine. The big moment of the night was Bianca winning, and that should have been the main event. To me, it just says so much about the company and just the way they see their talent to just go, oh, well, I know you guys want to see Edge win, and this is a big nostalgia pop, so that has to close the show. It shouldn't be that way, though.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I agree with that. I'm indifferent on it. I'm happy for him for what it means. I'm happy for him. We always say things like we're happy for guys, but the real question in all this is what's his take on it? Because if there's anybody that respects the business, because he was once a young guy as well in this business, it's Edge. And I'm sure one of the first questions out of his mouth was, do you want to really put me over everyone else? And what does that do for the product today, for your company? He's got to be conscientious enough to have those, at least have those thoughts. And it's not about what we think or how the fans could criticize. It's about doing the right thing for the company. And Edge would want to give back, and I'm sure, in my opinion, he's back so he can give back. So maybe all this ends with him putting somebody over in 6 months as the champion. Who knows?
Yeah, that's what it seems like. I mean, that quote came out that he's going to be there every week. He doesn't plan on, working a part-time schedule, which is fine. I think they want to get away from this stigma of bringing back old timers and then they work part-time and then disappear. So I'm sure he doesn't want to be in that same crowd. But at the same time, just following everything that we've come out of with Brock and all these other guys that come back and go straight to the title picture, it's hard to not feel like it's the same thing. It is different in a way because he's going to be there, but it's hard to not feel that way, especially when you have so many guys on the roster that could use that spot. When you think about some of the guys that weren't even in the Rumble, like where was Montez Ford? We didn't see several guys that could have used that kind of stage to get some heat under them. And Edge doesn't need that. Edge you can always put Edge in the title picture without having him win a Rumble.
Yeah. He doesn't need a motive. He doesn't need a motive or a reason to be there. He's just there. Yeah. Nate Dogg with an interesting thing. I don't think it's being positioned that way. I think Vince is asking Edge to come in and say things. I would not be surprised at all.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. I'm sure that's how Vince thinks. Well, pal, we need a veteran to come in here and show these kids. And come on.
Yeah, I don't know, and I think that's why there is a lack of really believable faces, at least on the men's roster right now. And I think pushing Edge right to the top of it kind of exasperates that problem. Because at this point, who do you have him challenged? You're not gonna have him challenge Roman because I don't think you're going to put Edge over Roman.
No.
And if you do all of that stuff with Drew for all this time just for Edge to beat him, it kind of feels like a waste. I don't know. And then what? You're going to do what you did with Charlotte last year and have him challenge the NXT champion and derail someone that you could have pushed on NXT?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what it does for them.
Let me throw this one up real quick. If I'm wrong, then say so. Is it the first time the first and second entrance to the Rumble were the final two in the ring? Sandy might be right about that. I can't recall another time when the first two guys were the last two guys. I mean, I'd have to do some homework on that.
I don't know off the top of my head.
While we ponder that, we may or may not come up with something. Let's hit some other news and notes. You were just alluding to it. What about Edge versus Finn Balor? In this world that we're in right now, this is Finn Balor. This is not Finn Balor who's never been in the main roster. This is Finn that's been in the main roster and came back. He could drop the NXT title to Edge. I don't think it hurts Finn the slightest. I definitely don't think it hurts that show. And I think it's good for. And why would, if you're Finn Balor, why wouldn't you want to do business with Edge? I think, honestly, in my opinion, I think you move on with the other two champs on the main roster branch. You just do Edge and Balor. I think it'd be fine, honestly.
I would love to see Balor defend a world title in WrestleMania. He should have gotten that spot a long time ago. I felt like he should have gotten back into the Universal title picture, and they kind of didn't pull the trigger on that. I don't know, though. It just seems like, do you think Balor will still be champion by Mania? It almost feels like they're lining this up for Cross to be champion again.
Perhaps. But if they don't go that route and they keep it on Finn, it's Finn and Edge at Mania. Edge takes it, drops it to Cross.
I could see that. I don't think that hurts it. I don't know. I just, I'm still in my head of going, what is NXT right now? Like, is it developmental? Is it a third brand? What is it? Because if it's developmental, you don't really need Edge there.
Right.
But if it's a third brand, no, absolutely get Edge there and get more eyes on it. I don't know how much that will work for some viewers of NXT because a lot of them are newer fans, but I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Nate says Edge versus Roman in a ball pit brawl at Chuck E. Cheese to protect them both from getting injured. Hey, man, those are your big time players. I mean, you gotta protect them. Yeah, I still think we're looking at Edge versus Finn Balor. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think it's going to be interesting to find out here. We've already touched on this as RLWE. We kind of both gave our takes on that. Let's do a little AEW news before we take it home today. Kenta with a not so surprising appearance on Dynamite. It didn't shock me to death. Jon Moxley showed up on NJPW Strong the week before, I think. This was Kenta's retaliation. Kenta, a full-fledged, living, breathing member of the actual Bullet Club. Don't get it twisted, kids. Coming in with a Bullet Club t-shirt on, attacking Jon Moxley in an... Okay, so wrap your head on this one. Kenta, an actual member of the living, breathing Bullet Club. I'll say it again. Attacking a former Shield founder, now Jon Moxley, in a ring that is not owned by New Japan or WWE. It's AEW. There's all kinds of different alternate realities coming to play here. And if you're a comic book guy out there watching or listening, you know what I'm getting at. All kinds of parallel universes happening at the same time. I can't believe the world didn't blow up when this happened. What's your take on Kenta versus Mox, man?
All right. Well, first of all, this main event was great.
Yes.
AEW has given us like 2 main events in a row that have been just so much fun to watch. And even if you include that 6-man match that they did at Hard to Kill, which was a ton of fun to watch. But man, Kenta in the ring with Moxley and Omega and the Impact World Tag Team Champions are in the same ring. And earlier in the night, we had Thunder Rosa and NWA on the same card. It's weird, surreal. But I kind of figured Kenta was going to show up at some point because they kept teasing it. He tweeted earlier that day, today's going to be a good day. And so when I saw the figure come in, I was like, no. And then he pulled out the hood. I was like, it's really him. It was great. The way it was executed was great. The backstage segment after was fantastic. Having Kenta just basically no selling me, go get out of here. But I thought the real interesting thing about it that I don't see a lot of people talking about is Kenta's hair. And his hair is purple now. And they've been trying to get this Civil War thing going with Bullet Club in New Japan for a while.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting that Omega mentioned Switchblade. And Kenta immediately goes, I'm not your friend. And he has purple hair.
Very
like evil.
Man.
And
that's a writer, kids. That's a great observation.
Even Ishimori at New Japan, at Wrestle Kingdom, he had the extension in his hair. It was purple.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been looking at little things like that. I was like, I wonder, like, are they going to like splinter Bullet Club? And if this is like our first hint that Kenta might go with Evil.
Good stuff, man. Wow. Good stuff. I'm all about that, actually. I love the crap out of that. And then plus Kenta told Omega F you on the way out. Like, man, such good stuff. We got Tama Tonga calling it the Bootleg Club on social media. Tama Tonga is the freaking man. Hello, son.
Hi.
You going to make an appearance?
Yeah.
Got to have the Punisher hoodie on. Got to represent, baby. Punisher in the house. This is Little Pun right here. So there you go. Say hey to everybody. All right. The boy is here. Yeah, man, I love this stuff. And I am such a massive fan of Jay White. I love
this week was so great.
Oh my God. I love everything he does. He is the best heel in the wrestling business today, bar none. No one can convince me otherwise. He is freaking fantastic. Roman's great. I will, lay credit at the boots of Roman Reigns, but Jay White, Roman is playing a character. He's extremely good at it. From the moment Jay got to New Japan as a babyface, he was smarmy and snarky and condescending. And now he's all that and more. It kind of feels like that's Jay. Now, chances are Jay could be a very polite, hey, how are you? Nice to meet you kind of guy behind the scenes. But as far as we know, we've never seen Jay smiling and cutting goofy promos and suffering succotash. So as much as we love Roman, and I do, man, I do, we know that this is the next step of his character. Jay White just feels like Jay White. He feels like an authentic heel. So best heel in the business, in my opinion. What do you think?
I think he's the best heel by far in the industry. I know people are high on like MJF or Roman. They're both great, but Jay White has been doing some of the best work for the last 2 years as heel. I mean, there's several marquee matches that are not marquee matches if he's not in it, and he does not give us a reason to root for the babyface.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Back to the Bullet Club stuff. I love it. I love the idea of the Bullet Club splintering. I love the idea of it getting over in different companies, and I'm here for it. I'm here for all this. I just love it. Speaking of being here for it, New Japan partners with the Roku channel. If you've not heard, kids, yours truly wrote a short blurb on that. Also, you can find it on Geek Vibes Nation, giving you some more details on this. There's a quote from the press release there as well. New Japan finally getting back on United States programming. They actually kick it off on Tuesday. It's on February 11th, so they're not going to waste any time. Phil and I were discussing before we went live today. I'm pretty sure this is original content. I think that they have proven that, dude, New Japan's production values, Bushiroad's got some money, okay?
Yeah.
And they have made statements before about expanding in the U.S. to compete with WWE, and I'm always thinking, you never should say that. That's like saying you're going to guard Michael Jordan. Good luck, because even if you do cross over, AI, thank you, you're lighting a fire to him. You're motivating him to come back and destroy you. So do you want to cross Vince? I don't think it's a good idea, but it's just my call. I mean, if you're New Japan, just come to the country and make an impact. And I think they're going to do that, especially with the Roku deal.
Oh, did you see Ibushi's tweet this week?
No, I didn't. I'll follow him on Twitter too. What did he say?
He and Omega have been subtweeting each other, and Nakazawa will like translate Ibushi's. And this week he took a very clear shot at WWE. And they're still teasing this match, which, if that's not the end game to this whole thing, Ibushi versus Omega at some point, then I don't know what we're doing.
Omega has posted photos of them together as the Golden Lovers and all this other stuff. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's what we're getting to as well, for sure.
Yeah. Now that we know the door is open, quote unquote, like that's the match. That is the match. Kenny versus Ibushi. Both those big, beautiful titles on the line. That's the match.
Yeah. As long as I'm a guy, made dreams. What am I do? Yeah, I'm kind of looking over his Twitter feed right now. Yeah, the door is wide open. You're 100% right on that, and I can't wait to see what happens next. Kids, we're almost ready to call it a day. But before we do, I will find the banner. And when I find the banner, it's going to be on. Bam! Open floor time on the main event. What do you guys and gals got for us before we call it a day? Sugar Shane says, I'm still hoping for a Hangman Page and Cowboy James Storm tag team. Can you imagine their finisher, the backstabber into the Page clothesline? Yeah, like the guy takes the knees and then bounces back up like he's groggy, and then Page. Oh, yeah, I can see that. I love James Storm. To James's credit, they brought him in NXT for that one night shot and evidently offered him a deal. And James was like, nah, I'm good. So kudos to James Storm, man. He could have took check and ran, but nah. Well, he did take the check and run, but he didn't take a deal. So, it's his call. But James Storm has done things his way over the years. I have to respect that. Nate says Danhausen literally works for Satan. He's the best heel. Well, you may have an argument there. I didn't get the whole Danhausen thing, Phil, until we went to a Ring of Honor show and saw him live. And he is very unique. Try using the word unique in pro wrestling in 2021. Man, that crowd ate it up. And I'm in the South where something like that, people would go, what's this feller? But man, they loved it. Like they were like, this guy's crazy. I mean, give me a second, Phil, about Ring of Honor. What's your knee-jerk reaction or first impressions of where do you see Ring of Honor a year from now? Are they still kicking?
I don't know. They've done some good things. I mean, re-signing Gresham was, that was obvious move. Gresham is fantastic, one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. They've got some good pieces there. They just signed O'Shea Edwards, which I really like O'Shea. They are seemingly trying to get their women's division together. They've got some good pieces there as well. I don't know. Everything with the Marty stuff seemed to really hurt them. And they've had like some bad press related to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard to tell until we get back to live shows and we get back to normal.
Yeah, for real. Sean says, did you guys forget Dean Ambrose was on the first WWE Raw with pink hair? Actually, I did forget that. I don't know if Dean or, excuse me. By the way, Sean, Jon Moxley. So there you go. John's probably trying to forget as well. I can't swear that I knew that, to be honest with you.
I forgot about it.
The first episode of Raw has been a long time ago. Sugar Shane says, I'm waiting for Omega versus Nick Aldis. I still am a massive fan of this. I wish they would incorporate and do business with NWA like they're doing with Impact, like they're going to do with New Japan. I mean, if you want to call guys world champions, I guess you can, but you shouldn't ignore Nick Aldis. I mean, I was speaking to Nathan before we went live here today, and he made a good point. How many years does Nick have left in the condition he's in at his prime, looking the way he looks, as only he can look? And being the guy that carries 10 pounds of gold, how many more years are we talking? We got it. In my opinion, jump on this right now. Get something inked and get this guy on my TV,
I mean, you've got the NWA Women's Championship on the show already. Wouldn't hurt to get the, 10 pounds of gold on there. And I'm just ready for Omega to just win every title and just stand there like Ultimate Dragon with them all stacked up and just be wrestling Thanos.
That's good stuff. Snap my fingers. Sandy, can't wait for CM Punk to come back. Sandy, don't hold your breath. You'll pass out.
I don't see it coming anytime soon. I think he's happy. Would I love to see it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't see it coming. On the Cole discussion, someone threw a hot take out there this week on Twitter, and they said that Cole's body of work is better than Punk's, and I was just like, no. Can't agree with that.
Adam Cole, and I love Adam Cole. I don't know how you couldn't love Adam Cole, because but at the same time, he's never made a mainstream impact. CM Punk caused people to turn their TVs to watch Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. If you're talking about body of work, to me, Cena versus Punk, Money in the Bank 2011 is on my best matches of all time list. I don't know if there's a Cole match that has cracked that list yet. He's had some great matches, but I mean, even when we're looking at like Daniel Bryan at Over the Limit, that match is great. The match at Punk versus Taker Mania, come on, those are three bigger matches than anything we've seen Adam Cole do so far, in my opinion. You can go on and on about the 5-star classics and what we have come to love about NXT, but the other part about that is what is considered a great NXT match. Punk was doing that with Samoa Joe and Ring of Honor years ago, before NXT was even a thing.
Yes. There's no NXT without Ring of Honor, kids. I have to tell you. If NXT had been a creation of Vince McMahon, and if Ring of Honor had never existed, NXT would be a definite third roster brand with the exact same WWE talent, muscle-bound guys that can't work. That's all NXT would be. There wouldn't be a next. It would just be called something different. Without Ring of Honor and all the work those guys did to get that show and get that product, that brand over, there would be no NXT. I mean, as evidenced by the fact that the majority of NXT roster is former Ring of Honor talent. Ray says, Tom, KRS-One or Raheem and Phil will the Lakers win the championship? I say Raheem. Do you have the Lakers winning the championship?
It sure seems like they have to be a favorite. As a lifetime Lakers hater, I do not want them to win. But, I don't know. It seems like they have to be the favorites at this point.
I agree with that. I think the word dynasty is going to be, dude, let's call this for what it is. I think Brooklyn has moments because Brooklyn seems to have the right pieces in place. But every time you hear about, man, what a great showing last night, everybody played together and they want to be there and they're serious about this, then you hear other sound bites about, I don't know, and something's weird. And
they've got to fix their defense. They allow way too many points. They're not gonna be serious contenders unless their defense is better. But though you talk about guys that can fill it up.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. James says, why are Umaga, Christian, and Test not WWE Hall of Fame yet? Do you think they will get in someday? James, my easy and quick answer is one guy makes the call. There's no pro wrestling writers being contacted to vote on a Hall of Fame for WWE. He's not asking his friends or even asking Triple H. He's just doing it himself. So that's his. It's the Vince McMahon Hall of Fame.
His call.
Does Test belong in the world of WWE where Snoop Dogg's in it? Sure. No offense, no disrespect to Test. God rest his soul. Umaga, same. And I love Umaga. Light years above Test in terms of ability and whatnot. Heritage, of course. Christian is. I'm amazed that he's not in yet. I actually thought Christian was in at some point, but I guess not. But now that he's back on the WWE programming, it's probably only a matter of time. Phil had a really rough week, folks, because Lars Sullivan was fired. So, Phil, if you can compose yourself, stay strong, brother. Tell me what you think. Lars Sullivan being shown the door.
So, is the rumor correct that he no-showed and that's why he got fired? If that's true,
took that.
if that's true that he did all these other things that came out and it was just that he no-showed and that's what got him fired. What they were doing with him on TV was just weird. The whole freak gimmick and the whole promos he was doing were bad. Yeah, it's a shame because I think Lars had something going with NXT, but boy, you talk about a rough year in terms of injuries and bad press. Yeah, it was time. It was time to cut their losses.
I think Mauro Ranallo, who needs to be back on my TV announcing wrestling in some form or fashion, Mauro said it best when he said that Lars Sullivan was a Jack Kirby illustration come to life.
He was.
Totally. God, I miss Mauro Ranallo. If I had the means and ran a major pro wrestling company with high public value and streaming, and Mauro Ranallo is my first phone call, apart from any talent. I'm sorry. Mauro's my first phone call. I say, you come in and get my talent over. You know, I love that guy. This guy can call boxing, wrestling, MMA. This guy could call table tennis, dude. He's and make you go, God, this is amazing. I love ping pong. Who's this guy calling it? It's great because he's that good. He is that good. Couple more. Let's take it home. I read that Tommy Rich was getting to the Hall of Fame. Is it the WWE Hall of Fame? No, it's the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame.
Okay.
I love Tommy Wildfire Rich. Tommy Rich is great. Tommy Rich will go down as one of the most underrated talents of all time. Could talk a streak, could work himself to death. Former NWA World Heavyweight Champion. Beat Harley Race. I mean, I'm sorry. All that goes on a resume. I love Tommy Rich, man. I do. The stuff he did with Buzz Sawyer is legendary. Legendary. Shannon, I didn't put you up on the screen that much this week. My apologies. Love the tension between Sammy and MJF. You and I have called this. They're calling it on AEW TV. They're talking about these guys working for the AEW World title 5 years from now. I wholeheartedly agree.
Yes. Sammy, I'm telling you, Sammy is going to be a fantastic babyface. It's only a matter of time. This seems like the road to that. I really liked him walking out on the match this week and not even looking back, just going straight backstage. I loved him walking out on the meeting backstage and then MJF basically huddling the other guys together and looking like he is seemingly plotting a scheme to throw him out.
Yeah.
I like everything about it. I think Inner Circle was getting to a point where it was getting stale, and I think everything they're doing now is working. I think get Sammy out, let Sammy do his own thing, get Proud and Powerful out, let them do their own thing. It's time.
Yeah. And in the world of AEW, you could always bring Sammy back around at some point and not turn heel again, but have a moment of a fist bump backstage or a moment of a handshake where between him and Hager, where it's obvious that they're not friends, but they have an understanding. You can do that stuff on AEW TV, and you won't have guys like you and me write 10 different articles about why it's ridiculous, because they can do that stuff, and in their reality, it makes sense and it would work. So I'm with you. I would definitely be okay with that. Let's see. Timothy's hit me with this a couple times. North Carolina versus Duke tomorrow night. Phil Lindsay, give your pick and the final score. Go, Phil.
I'm not a big college guy, but I'm going to go with Duke.
Oh, dude, Phil, and I thought we were friends. What happened to that?
I hate Duke too, but I think Duke's going to win.
I think you're right. But I'm a Carolina guy, and as a Chicago native, you should be a Carolina guy too, because, Jordan. I'm a Heels guy, man. I can't help it. Final score, I don't know. I'll go sentimental favorite and go Heels and say 86-84. I'm just going to throw it out there. So there we go. A guy can hope, can't he? All right, one more. Make it good, and we're going to get out of here and enjoy the rest of our day. Sandy, you were the first here. You'll be the last out. I want the winners, the Women's Dusty Tag Team Classic, to win the Women's Tag Team Championships. Is a stipulation that if you win the cup, you win a shot at the titles? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure. Is that part of the deal?
I don't know. I have to assume it has to give them some kind of buzz heading into a tag titles match. I don't know. If the winner of this thing is Dakota and Raquel, I agree. Give them the shot at the titles. Get the titles around their waist. Because I even like what is the KC team? Team Ninja. I think Team Ninja's cool too.
Catanzaro and I can't remember her name.
Lacey. Well, is that her name? Lacey Lane?
Something like that. I've always thought she's. When I say looks like, I don't mean it the way it sounds. Her gimmick is really close to Ember Moon in terms of. Wasn't she wearing the contacts at the time? And it's like having two 7-foot guys with the same haircut and the same gear and on the same show. You're like, yeah, but you guys kind of look like one of you needs to, like Elias and Seth are basically body doubles for each other in some weird way. And you're like, one of you guys needs to wear a ponytail. I mean, because this is like, I get it. I know the difference, obviously, but I don't know. I don't know. Like, I'll tell you this from an independent pro wrestling standpoint, when Austin got hot, everyone on the indie circuit started wearing black boots. Everyone. Boots were a thing. Boots were whatever color, white, blue, red, whatever. But the minute that Austin broke. Every kid in every high school gym, in every rec center, every armory wanted to start wearing black gear because of Austin. And it got to the point, the company I was working with years ago, that the promoters we had a locker room meeting, and promoters like, some of you guys need to quit wearing black. Every one of you wears black. Because it just got to be a massive thing. And this was 2001 when Austin's era was like on in its twilight. And it was like, God, you got to stop with the black, like change it up. But yeah, it's just that idea of stand out, be different, be unique, don't look like everybody else kind of thing. Yeah. Well, kids, we hope that you've had, Phil, what do you think about that before we get out of here, about being unique and not looking like everybody else?
No, I mean, I think there are a lot of guys that look similar. Like when you mentioned Rollins, like there are a lot of guys with the same aesthetic, long hair, beard. Yeah, I don't know. The funny thing about it is when you mentioned Rollins, we didn't even talk about the curb stomp. It's just gnarly curb stomp on the apron to eliminate Matt Riddle, which was awesome.
Yeah, Matt Riddle recuperating in ICU right now. Not really, but yikes. I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of surprised that move is still being allowed. They took that out for a long time. They took Randy Orton's punting to the head out for a long time. I mean, I happen to believe that the what does he call the power bomb in the corner?
The buckle bomb.
Yeah, I happen to believe that's a wholly dangerous move because as the guy taking the move, you can't see where you're going. As the guy throwing the guy performing the move, you can't see where you're going. You can count the steps, you can get him close, but as we've seen, if you miscount, if you hit too early, if you hit too late, you might kill somebody. I'm sorry. I mean, and I know you're not throwing full force trying to kill him. It's the impression that you're throwing. It's the other guy's job to land. I get it, but anytime you can't see where you're going, it's a dangerous spot, in my opinion. So I'm not high on that move, All right. We're going to get out of here, kids. We hope that you've had fun. We hope that you've enjoyed the show because, buddy, we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Phil, as always, thank you, my friend, for hanging out. Phil is pulling triple duty. He recorded a 6M with me last night. We did the main event today, and he's recording something else later with a couple of fellow comrades in arms in the pro wrestling business. So, Phil, thanks as always for hanging out. We'll have you back on the show again real soon, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Kids, that's it for me. I'm getting out of here. Listen, everybody, enjoy your weekend. We didn't talk about the weather. Phil got a whole lot of snow. If you're in a part of the country that's got a whole lot of snow, for God's sake, be careful. Be safe out there. And, of course, always be safe. Protect yourselves and each other. Wear your stupid mask. Quit complaining about it. Quit making it political because you're weird. Get over yourself and wear the mask. Let's get over this. I want to go back to see live wrestling with a whole bunch of people there and can't do it if morons continue not wear their masks. There is my, after school special of the day. That's all I got for you. Thanks again for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Everybody have a great week. Thanks, as always, for hanging out and supporting the shows. I appreciate it. Catch the Tom Clark 6M podcast dropping this Tuesday. See you next week, Tom Clark's Main Event.